Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Another AMA. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today.
We're back. Another team review coming right at you. This one for our good friend Eric. I'm going to say his last name and it's going to mess up. Garrett. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Team name on Sleeper too. Sleeper ID. Majerused. Majerused. I'm going to mess it up. But
Majerused. That's what I'm going with.
Majerused. Majerused. What are we looking at today, Adam? We got a 10-team, start 10 offense, start 7 IDP, 19 bench, 5 taxi, lineup, Superflex. Some interesting scoring in here, especially for the IDP guys. 6 points per passing touchdown, -3 for interception, minus another 2 for pick 6. Unfortunately, RIP. Lots of bonuses. Pretty, I don't know, kind of like a shit league, right? Just scoring all over the map. But
shit scoring, but it's 10-team, right?
Yeah, wanted us to focus specifically on the offense, which I can easily do because I pulled up the warp already for this one, and IDP's okay. I mean, the A warp on linebackers is fine. True warp on most IDP is not that great, so
right.
pretty just find some dudes. All right, you know who they are. This isn't a shit IDP 101 where you're scoring 130 points.
Typically the IDP scoring is not going to be too crazy anyway, but the other thing too is even if it was, I'm not going to be the best at telling you which guys are worth the shit in IDP.
Right. Rebuilt the last 2 years, looking to contend going forward. Does feel like he needs a more star-studded quarterback one, and in a 10-team Superflex league, yes. So we're primarily going to focus on the offense. We might touch on a little defense, but let's dive into it. 10-team, Adam. What's quarterback situation look like here? We got Fields.
So we got Fields as looks like the primary. Matthew Stafford currently in the defensive lineman spot. I like that.
Shout out to the left. He doesn't even care about the IDP. Just throws all the offensive players in there.
So it looks like, though, we got Jimmy G, who's going to be serving a suspension, Trey Lance, Matt Stafford, Bryce Young in the Superflex. And I think that's the totality. Yeah, that's the totality of quarterbacks. Now, he does have 102, 104, 105, 106. So,
all right. So he's getting another quarterback or two there.
Yeah, he'll be getting at least one, you figure, there. But, yeah, right. So right now he's got Fields. I don't mind Fields, honestly, in 10-team with the rushing upside. But you definitely feel like in the quarterback 2 spot, right, a lot of uncertainty in a 10-man. You probably wanted to get that spot definitely bumped up.
Yep. The warp on the quarterbacks, it's okay. Dak was the best quarterback in the league last year, and he slotted in at 4th overall in true warp, Adam. So it's got some pull. The graph as a whole, though, pretty much intersects with running backs and wide receivers top to bottom. So a focus, but it doesn't have to be a major focus, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to pull it up here, too, as well, the warp. Now, the running back spot, he's got Bijan and Rashad White. CD, DJ Moore, Nico, Evan Ingram at tight end, Watson, Luke Musgrave. Kind of thins out, though, right? Madison, Algier, Romeo Dobbs. Obviously, he has all those picks. Tucker Kraft sneaking around here. But in 10-team, as far as the offense goes, at least right now without the picks involved, looks thin.
Yeah. Bijan, Fields, right? Rashad White, I'll throw him in there. Nico, DJ Moore, Evan Ingram at tight end, and all those draft picks. That's pretty much all you're really concerned about for offense on a 10-team league like this. Those are the studs, the assets that you really want. The rest of them, they're kind of whatever. Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to see. I did see at his tight end spot, he's got Musgrave, Freiermuth, Tucker Kraft. Tight end's not the greatest in warp, obviously. By far and away worse than everything else. If there's anybody out there who be paying anything for those, right?
Yeah.
Does have a ton of picks, especially those early 3 second-round picks, which is going to be the 111, 112, and 201 essentially in a 12-team league, how we normally look at it. Pretty valuable picks. I wonder if you could pair those around and maybe do a little moving in the draft. Maybe turn that 108 into a 103. Turn the 104 into the 101, something along those lines.
Yeah, because I mean, right now,
adding a Marv.
Yeah, right now you're looking at 102. Like I think in a 10 team like this, Mike, you can kind of really say how you're looking at 3 receivers and then a pretty big tier break. Not saying I wouldn't still have Brian Thomas on a team like this, but Rome in particular with Malik Neighbors and Marv are the big difference makers in a 10 team league.
I wonder. First off, we'll just start at tight ends, see if there's anybody out there with terrible tight ends that kind of matches up. So far, first couple I looked at, Mark Andrews, George Kittle. Ooh, here's a guy with Darren Waller. No picks to speak of, though.
No picks?
Well, no real picks. Does have a ton of interesting wide receivers, though. Chase,
okay.
Puka, Tyreek, and Michael Pittman.
Okay. I like that. Yeah.
Pittman or Tyreek will probably be the 2 cheapest, right? Chase and Puka are gonna ask for $1 billion. What about
Correct.
his Pat Freiermuth, the 201 technically, or I'd even do the 109 for Tyreek or Pittman. What do you think?
Yeah. I would definitely do that. Which team here you want me to click on?
It's Will 88.
Will 88, okay.
Steelers guy, yep.
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
No, sorry, not Will 88. My bad.
No, you're
Kiff 718, New York Knicks guy. I got the logos mixed up.
Okay, yeah. yeah. Tyreek, Puka, and Pittman. I mean, Mike, I know it's 10 team, but I'm probably, whatever he values least, I'm very interested in getting all 3 of these guys in the 10-team league.
Yeah. I think that'd probably be the first place I start. I explore, could I interest him in a Pat Freiermuth, a Musgrave, or a Kraft? Any of them, all of them. And then what pick does it take to get one of those wide receivers? Right. I'd send out multiple offers, too, kind of a flavor of your choice, right?
Yep.
At the end of the day, Adam, if I told you it took Musgrave, Kraft, and Freiermuth plus the 108 for either Tyreek or Puka.
Gone.
Done. Okay. Yeah, I'm with
you. In a heartbeat.
There's enough you could pay, right?
What would you be willing to go up to, I guess would be the question.
I'll probably let the 6 go.
I was going to say, I don't think I want to go to the 4, but I think I'll do the 6.
I think I want to hold on to the 4, right?
Yep.
Because they're kind of counting on, one of those big-time quarterbacks being there or one of those big 3 receivers. So,
yeah,
if
all the receivers go, you still get a Daniels, you get a Caleb, right? So
6 would be top dollar, and after that, no. But, I'd start lower, maybe include the 201, 202, Freiermuth, and Tucker Kraft, and it's a 4 for 1, and people go, oh, my God, but it's a 10-team. I need those star-studded target hog wide receivers.
So I'm going to go back to his team here. Speaking of tight ends, just in case, somebody decides to get, I don't know how you want to call it, tempted maybe. Where are you at with Brock Bowers in this league?
No.
I just wanted to make sure. That's why I use the word in case somebody gets tempted,
No. T.J. Hawkinson was the best tight end, True Warp last year. He slotted in at 18th, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Laporta was tight end 3 in Warp, and he's the 33rd player, right? And that would take a Brock Bowers historic year to hit that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I'm good.
Dalton Kincaid had a decent year, right? Had a good stretch there. 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever.
Yep.
He's the 119th player in Warp, so juxtaposing value of Brock Bowers to tight ends. Nah, I'm good.
I just would. What it's going to cost in this league, I probably am passing.
No.
I think even though it's 10-team and you want to have hammers, it just isn't worth the cost, man. No.
I'd much rather gamble on a Brian Thomas, right? One of those receivers to break out.
The only caveat would be Majerused, right? If you understand the market of your league and somehow you know that Brock Bowers can move you into a receiver higher than a Brian Thomas, right? If you know that tradability is there,
Yep.
But outside of that, if that doesn't exist, there's no way I'm touching them, honestly, in this format, Mike.
Yeah, this is just speaking from two guys who aren't in the league. I don't know how these players value or play.
Right.
I just know for me, if I was in a situation where I didn't know how they're going to react to Brock Bowers, I didn't know there was a Brock Bowers fan or somebody talking them up, or, they favor those, those type of assets. Like they're big into the fantasy Twitter, or listen to how he's generational and all of this stuff. Then, all right, if I don't know that, I'm good. I don't want to get stuck with it. I don't want to get stuck with it.
I'm definitely with you. I'm definitely with you there, Mike. I just wanted to cover that because I think sometimes people will ask, like, hey, what do you recommend here with the tight ends? And to me, it's pretty simple. If you know that there's tradability there, fine. Outside of that, I'm probably holding away. I'm holding off on that, especially given the warp what I'm looking at here, Mike. It just doesn't seem even close to worth it.
Everything I just said to about the Knicks guy, right? Kiff 718. You could apply to You could apply to Midwest Mafia as well. He's got T.J. Hawkinson as this pretty much lone tight end, and star-studded receivers: A.J. Brown, Waddle, Devontae Smith, Drake London, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers.
Man, there's 6 right there that are top 25 guys. So
and he's looking at a tight end that's going to be out for a good chunk of time to start the year. So that's another guy I would add to the target list to see if I can offload some tight ends.
I would definitely agree with that. Is there anyone else that has? Man, that's a lot of receiver targets already on 2 teams, Mike. I mean, is there anyone else that stands out as far as like guys you could at least try to see if there's multitudes of wide receivers to pluck from?
No.
I was gonna say, man, if you see there's 2 teams with, between Tyreek, Puka, Jamar Chase, Pittman, and then you have A.J. Brown, Waddle, Smitty, Drake London, Higgins. It's like 10 receivers across 2 teams right there.
Some guys have 3. We got a Jefferson, DK, Terry, Godwin if you want to include him. Probably the next best one would be Biscuit. Biscuit 24's got Amon-Ra, Chris Olave, Jordan Addison, George Pickens, Mari Cooper. So it's okay. Tight end situation's Travis Kelce, and then nothing. So possibility there too, but kind of slim pickings, man. There's a lot of guys who look like they have the wide receiver market kind of locked up. Everybody else is kind of just fighting for scraps at this point.
Okay. So
let's move on. Let me look at quarterbacks now, because I do agree, like, as far as star-studded, I'd rather Fields be my Superflex quarterback.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. With you.
And I don't really, if I'm looking to compete, like, as soon as this year, I don't want to rely on a Jaden Daniels or Caleb, to be that QB1. I don't mind having them on my team, but I'd feel much better if I went into the season with them as, like, my QB3. And if I found money, then here we go, the Anthony Richardson start to the season last year, right? Like, that's what I want. But
absolutely,
I don't want to rely on it. Man, I guess, there's a few guys out there. Biscuit, who we just talked about, he's got Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Tua. Mm-hmm. Tua could be a cheap had.
I think Tua's honestly, even in 10 team, Mike, I still am okay. Like, if you look at the splits when he had a good schedule, guy was definitely in the hammer range. So obviously he's not as consistent, but I would definitely be willing to see what he's going to cost.
Yeah. There's a guy with Jordan Love, Daniel Jones, Russ, but most of those guys other than Jordan Love are just going to be depth. Man, it's kind of slim pickings out here.
Do we have kind of guys hoarding then? Is that what we're looking at?
Not really. It's pretty spread out amongst the league. Like you'll see, like, a lot of these that we do. Some of these teams are just so devoid at quarterback. Like, it's a team without quarterbacks, and all. So
this AP Magoon has Dak and Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
You got Jordan Love. Like you said,
I did find one with 4 real quarterbacks. Will, the guy I talked about wrong the first time. Lamar.
Sorry, say it again.
Lamar, Herbert, A-Rich, and Baker. So he's rocking 4 quarterbacks with jobs. 3 of them studs.
I think if you can get a guy like especially in this economy, Mike, in 10 team. I'd be curious what it costs to get a Lamar, get a Herbert, get an A-Rich. Because then here's the thing, Mike. At that point, if you were able to get that, now you could maybe just let what falls do fall as far as the draft goes. You don't have to feel like you're forced to take a Daniels or a Caleb too soon there at 2.
Top dollar, if I told you it was Lamar or A-Rich, would you be comfortable sending 5, 6, and 8?
5, 6, and 8?
Still leave you with 2, 4, 9, 201, 202, 203.
I mean, that would be my top dollar. Like in 10 team, it feels expensive given, but I mean, at the same time, it's an elite one, and you want to have the hammer. I think that's my top dollar, to be honest with you, though. Like that's
those
it.
3 first.
Yeah,
those 3,
that would be it.
Yeah. It's not super imperative, but think about the flexibility that'll open up for him. He's gonna have Fields and let's just say it's A-Rich. Fields and A-Rich. 2 rushing quarterbacks, which score really well in most formats. Those are the 2 guys he's already has locked down on his offense. Bryce Young, Stafford, and whatever rookie that he ends up getting at maybe 4, for example. But it also opens up the fact that you don't have to take a quarterback, right? If somebody does take one of those guys, you could just, hey, it's Neighbors, boom, done. Marvin Neighbors, I'm out. Like, you guys have a good day, right? It opens up that possibility, but that's kind of where you slot in. And then pick 9 and all those seconds that he kind of has remaining, grab another depth wide receiver. But he also needs to start thinking about filling up running backs, and the easiest way to do it is, may seem early in this league, but quarterbacks are kind of devalued. Some of these long shot wide receivers are, if you got a running back who's got good draft capital to a decent landing spot, like Braylon Allen, Bucky Irving, Jonathan Brooks. Shit,
if you have it after the draft,
early second, yeah.
If you have it after the draft, you're talking about a second-round running back, good landing spot. That's definitely a place I'm shooting the shot in 10 team.
And then I'm loading up, and I got Bijan, I got Rashad White, I got maybe, say, a rookie running back. I got Marv and Neighbors, and my quarterbacks are already set. And then my weakest spot then is not depth, it's not running back, it's not wide receiver, it's fucking tight end, which I don't care. Like, I'll find some dudes.
as we had Blizzy on, right? Evan Ingram, man, it's at the end of the season was a hammer, right?
Yes.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
I think that's probably top dollar, but I want to just throw it out there and explore. Like you,
what about
that'd be a
what
guy
about
to go
seeing
to.
if the guy would be willing to take like Bryce back in a tier up, as opposed to throwing all 3?
That would be money if you could get that done. Yes.
Like I would throw the 105 in Bryce, easy.
Yes.
Maybe try that. Maybe see what his cup of tea is. If he's actually trying to liquidate, or if I think in 10 team, like if I could get Bryce to be a piece that's included to go get an elite quarterback, no brainer. But that's dependent on your league and what that guy wants to do.
I would see if like 9 and 8 and Bryce Young get you A-Rich or Herbert or Lamar.
Yeah,
easily.
For sure. I would love to do that too.
And then if you wanted to make the deal bigger, you're gonna need some cheap, just dog shit running backs, right? He's got a Najee, James Conner, Zamir White, Chase Brown, Mostert.
Is this Will? Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Ty Chandler, Singletary, right?
Yeah.
All kind of guys that don't
just throw in any running back.
Yeah, just toss me
Zamir
one or
White.
2 of these guys. Yeah.
Sure. Who else? Is there anyone else? Like, man, I guess it is only 10 teams, so it's like you feel like you can't go to as many buyers, and that's
right.
True. Like, I'm just kind of curious. Some of these teams we haven't really looked at, just to.
It's a guy with Burrow, Watson, Rodgers.
Which team is this?
Kiff. We looked at him earlier. The guy with terrible tight ends,
good
wide
right.
receivers.
Yeah, Waller. Man. What about this guy here? Anything? Not really.
Stroud and Kyler.
Stroud. Yeah. I mean, Kyler maybe, but I doubt this guy's trading either one of those when Pickett's the only other option at QB.
And most of these guys look like they either are one or 2 directions. They didn't trade their first, or they pushed all in and gave it to Majerused, and that's it.
Yeah, and M. Kisbet right here, right? He won, so he's got the 110. Midwest Mafia. Man, it's really like some of these teams are. I'm not saying you can't get something done, but this guy, I don't know if he's really willing to play ball with some of these receivers. I mean, I'd be interested, but if he can start all of them, he may not want to trade any of them, you know?
Right.
In a 10 team, I mean.
He can start, what, 5?
Yeah, so you got 3 receivers with the 2 flexes. I mean, you're not wanting to start one in the Superflex. So you should be starting 5, right? Not yes. More. But he has 6 though, so maybe. I mean, you would figure he probably is going to keep one as a backup option. But I would be interested if this guy is willing to sell you some. Mike, let me ask you right now in a 10-team league, which one of these picks would you be willing to start shopping for this range? I mean, these guys are all like outside of A.J. Brown in the tier 3 mix, right? I mean, you're talking Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Drake London, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, almost whatever he values least.
Top dollar to go. Pick 5.
I'm with you.
1 for 1.
If I can get it done for 6 or later for any one of them, I'd be
6 or later is a smash. 5 it puts you in the range. If I think about how a 10-team Superflex like this, and I don't play in 10 teams, so let me just preface that. Okay.
Yep.
Quarterback's a little bit more devalued. It's not like a 12-team where it's like a money grab at the top, but you're going to have Marv, you're going to have Neighbors, you're probably going to have 1 or 2 of Caleb Drake May, and that leaves the 5th as or Caleb or Jaden Daniels. Maybe Drake May, but I doubt it at this point. That leaves the 5th as a Dunze, and that's kind of like the tier break for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, 105 at least it feels you're getting like more secure production, I think, though, than necessarily what you'll get as far as the value might be similar, right? But I don't want to give up anything north of that. Like, I'm not giving up the 4. I'm not giving up the 2, obviously, either. So, Matthew Terry, man.
That's the thing, like with Neighbors, I can almost guarantee he's going to come in with more hype than Drake London, Chris Olave, Devontae Smith. It's going to be a more coveted asset than a lot of those guys.
Now, the only other thing let me ask you this, Mike. Team Daddy Love 69, right? Got the 101 here. And if this guy's willing to take some picks in a rebuild sense, what about a guy like Ayuk?
Yes.
105 again?
Yes.
I'm with you.
Maybe just a little bit lower. Like, I value Drake London just a little bit more. Right? He's a little bit more sexy.
106 and 109?
Well, yeah, something along those lines. Yeah.
Maybe start lower and see if you can get to that, but
that'd be a guy too to like at least explore with him to see if I could get that 101, right? To move up to the 101. Like, what's it take?
To go up from 104?
Yes. Yes. And then I get to do what I want. But it does look like that guy might actually be taking a quarterback at 101. Like, this feels like a guy who's going to take Caleb Williams, even though it's probably antithetical to what you actually want to do for this format. Yeah, because he's rocking Brock Purdy and nothing else.
He also is rocking kind of not much at all, dude. Like,
right.
Running
Tony
backs
Pollard
gross.
and Jerome Ford. Right.
There's not a bad pick for this guy here. Like, his whole team needs a lot of work, brother. Dude, you got Demario Douglas up here? Holy macro. You might be able to get this guy to take 2 picks.
Yes.
Would you send 104 and 105?
I'd rather hold the 4 easily. I'd much rather do something in the range of like 9, 8, and 6 for 101, where people go, you gave him 3?
Of course. Right? Now, what if that wasn't going to happen, though? What if he's like, nah, I need a 104? What would you be willing to send more plus 104 is, I guess, the question.
4 and 8. Probably top dollar.
Trying to see.
I don't want to do 4 and 6. Really just don't. Feel like I'm bailing
if you told me,
I guess I could do like 4 and 6 if I got the 101 in. I'm going to need a piece back. And if I'm going to get a piece off his team, it's going to be like a Pollard or a Ford. Right? Give me a running back.
I'd be fine with that. I think if you go ahead and lock up those 2 picks right there, plus 4, Mike, you're going to end up with See, what I'm doing there is I'm taking both Marv and I'm taking Neighbors, and then I'm just going to let either Caleb or Jaden Daniels be the 104 pick for me. We're moving 104. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really want to move it. Want to put the pressure on whoever picks at 3 than to mess up and give me something good at 4.
That's fair. Let me ask you this. If you did move up to 101, are you locking up both receivers, or are you taking a quarterback and a receiver?
I think I'd take both receivers. I'm
with
Neighbors.
You. I'm 100% with you. I think even though with the scoring here, like if I could lock down having CeeDee Lamb, Marv, Neighbors, and then DJ Moore, Nico Collins as the flexes, that I think is really how you juice a team like this up. I'm already good with Bijan as my hammer. I have Rashad White. I'm okay basically filling in any running back on a 53 or spot starts, like you said, draft guys in the second from there. Like, I definitely would love to get a upgrade at the Superflex spot, or even better, make Justin Fields my Superflex. But in a 10-team, man, I basically would much rather load up on those receivers that I think are going to be trading for hauls.
Hypothetically, too, like I've had a few teams like this where you're just so you already start from a good starting spot of already having a ton of decent players on your roster with dynasty value.
Right.
They're not hammers or studs. CD, obviously, and Bijan are studs for him. Justin Fields is a decent enough quarterback. But then you come in with all this draft capital and you're like, if I just make all these picks, I feel like I need to do something with it. I'm with you. Like, sometimes I get really, really aggressive in doing it. So what I'm saying is, if like the guy really wants 101, at some point though, if I throw enough shit at him, he's gonna have to take it. Like, you be a fool to not take it at him. I don't care what state your team is in. So for example, I'm thinking 4D strategy here. You already got the 2, you got the 4, and you got the 5. Okay. You could use a quarterback, right? Like another one on your team. You'd like to go try to acquire a stud, but it's maybe not going to happen. Like, that's a tough sell. The 101 feels like something I can get if I just throw enough shit at the wall. So if I were to literally trade him 6, 8, 9, he's like, that ain't enough. All right, here's a 201. I can't. All right, here's a 202. Here's a 203. Like, I throw all that at it, right? You go, man, that's a massive overpay for the 101. But now you think about it, Adam. You head into the draft. You take Marv. You take Malik Neighbors, 1 and 2.
Right.
Pick 3 is going to take one of Caleb or Jaden Daniels. So at 4 and 5, you're getting, even if it's not Jaden Daniels or whatever. Say they take a Dunze, okay? Either way, at 4 and 5, then you're also setting yourself up to get, one of Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, right. Roma Dunze, and Drake May. Like, you are setting yourself up where you get multiple cracks at it. So you could literally walk out of the draft with the top 3 receivers in the draft, all with top 10 draft capital, and 1 quarterback, of a Drake May variety. And all that you sent away in a 10-team in this format, I'm like, good luck to you, man. You're more than likely probably drafting a Christian Watson, a Devontae Smith, a Jordan Addison type, like good players, but not game changers. Like, I went for the home run hitters, right? The holy cow, this guy's performing like Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. And then even after that, like, my roster then now all of a sudden Christian Watson that I have on it kind of becomes expendable. A DJ Moore becomes expendable. Those tight ends, like I said, become expendable. You can move some of those tight ends for just running back darts. Now your quarterback room is locked up. Your wide receiver room is definitely locked up. You still have your 25 picks. Haven't pushed those in yet. And the guys that you do have a lot of name cachet and youth and value associated to them if you needed to move them at a different time. So just something to think about, like, especially with that 101, just from a strategy standpoint come draft time, having the 1, 2, 4, and 5 all of a sudden goes, oh, man, whoever's picking at 3, best of luck to you, man. You get 1 crack at it, and I'm going to take the rest. So
here, so I wanted to show this too, Mike. So right here, we got the warp graph, okay? And it's a little wide here, but the reason I want to show this, you can really see here how the graph really is slanted extremely up and down to start, and it really shows in 10-team how as much as all that offer feels like a lot, it's worth it if you're hitting the high-end warp guys in this league, right? In 10-team, it's all about having the top if you get top 5 to 8 players at their position, they drastically change this league.
Yes.
At quarterback, receiver, running back. So even if it feels like a lot, if I had to send the 106, 108, 109, 201, 202, I mean, honestly, fuck it, Mike. I'll here you go.
So if you think about it in the lens of CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek were the 2 best receivers, wide receivers, right? Safer assets last year.
Yep.
Combined together, they would have won you 4 more games than if you didn't have them on your team. Think about that. 4 games out of a 14-game regular season. 4 fucking games is a lot. That's a lot combined with the 2. So that's if you had those guys versus just having some dude off the street, right? The replacement level, which in true warp, the replacement level for one of these wide receivers, I mean, you're talking, you could start 50 on a given week.
Now, with that graph in mind here, let me switch it back for you here. Mike, think about this
Romeo Dobbs. Like versus starting a Romeo Dobbs, 2 Romeo Dobbs instead of CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill. That's 4 more games. And Romeo Dobbs had a good year.
I want to highlight this too, right? So when you think about that warp graph, okay, and then you look at this, some of the updates to the lab here, like it basically gives you a total value of players based on your picks and your players, right? So right now you're easily the top value in the league, but half of your value is in picks. Now you can actualize that, right? But what we know is we want to push that into high-end players. So if you told me that I only leave with Marv, Neighbors, and 1 quarterback even, Mike, if that's what I left with, I'm okay because that's going to push my players significantly up, and that's what I'm looking for in this league, frankly.
Yes. The true hammers, the true difference makers.
Even if it cost – like obviously you want to start low and go from there, but even if I only walked away with drafting the 101, the 102, and the 105 – or the 104. I would do what it probably takes to get the 101 outside of sending away that 102 pick. Like I don't really have any interest in moving Neighbors to go get Marv, frankly. I think they have pretty similar range of outcomes as far as hammer goes. So outside of that, I'd be probably willing to play ball with almost any of it.
I think the easiest thing, like I send 201, 202, 8 and 9. Like I come with an offer that's 4 pieces and 4 good picks, and here, I want your 101. And they'll probably decline it, but you're at least starting from a spot. And then you add on the 203. And they're like, oh, that ain't enough. And you say, all right, finally. Last deal I got, man. I'm going nuts. All right, 106 as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to come guns a-blazing with 106 in there too, but like I think you know, we talked a lot about it. You know, realistically, if Team Daddy Love 69, which kind of love that name, to be honest with you. But if he's really willing to play ball and, like, what that is. Mike, sometimes, right or wrong, a team that looks like this may not give a shit. They may be so set on Marv, and that's going to do nothing for this team, frankly. Like, as great as Marv is, this team is not going to move the needle with a Marv. It just, look at this. Bad. But sometimes you can't convince somebody. But you know that or you don't, or you know what it would potentially take. I think we're kind of saying here that given what you have, given what you've all stocked up, if that deal exists where you can move picks that don't include the 102 and the 104, really, like I don't want to get into that 105 if I don't have to, Mike, but even if I did have to, if that's really what it came to, man, obviously I'm not sending all the picks for 101, but I'm playing ball, I think, man. I want to go get the top quarterback or second quarterback with those top 2 receivers if I can. You built up enough value to really, like you said, kind of overwhelm him in an offer. And I think that's at least where I'm starting, given how much he needs depth.
Yeah, same kind of principle for, Amon-Ra, Chase, Jefferson, like one of those level of wide receivers. If it takes all those seconds and a couple of those first, do it. Send them.
With you.
So, I wanted to really dive into the strategery. George W. on that one for the 101, and why it makes a lot of sense because you put so much pressure on 3, and then you're going to hit it 4 and 5.
Yeah,
it's like nobody has a choice. Like, you're going to take one of them. I'm still getting 2 of them.
And
sure.
as I'm looking, Mike,
walk out of this draft with 4 out of the top 5 players.
As I'm looking, right? So here, Biscuit 24. We're just talking right away. Hey, Amon-Ra, like, even if you want to just start, don't even spitball. Just come at him with something that makes him at least think. You know, see what you get back as far as discourse goes. I'm good here. Let me ask you, AJ Brown here.
Amon-Ra was a 1.56 warp guy.
What about AJ Brown?
Not as good because of that fall off towards the end of the year. A 1 warp.
I'm sorry, not his warp. Like, where are you at?
I'd be fine. Like, he's still going to have some big moments.
Because if this guy's saying I got 6 receivers and is willing to let you come get AJ Brown, what does that look like?
I mean, he's a tier 2 receiver
for sure.
Me.
He's a top 6, 7 receiver. You know.
Yep. Kind of depend on what the price is.
Are you sending 105 and 106?
No, not both of them. Not the 5.
That'd probably be top dollar if I couldn't get the other stuff done. I'd prefer to go get 101. I'd prefer to go get Amon-Ra first. This would be a backup option for me. Let's see who else here. I think we kind of hit it, Mike. With 10 teams, there's not as many buyers, right? Puka fits the same, honestly, situation for me. Jamar Chase. I'm definitely hitting this guy up.
Definitely.
Tyreek Hill as well, even, although the window's shorter.
That's
really what you have, man. That's it. Like, that's what I'm doing with. I've built up this whole thing. If I end up not being able to get a deal like that done, you just are going to have to probably draft the picks. There's not going to be a super great value that you can trade for if you're not getting the hammer. But I think realistically, Mike, what we just kind of said is exhaust every hammer option. And because you have the ability to overwhelm, just keep hitting them one more at a time, man. They say no. Here's that 202. Here's that 203. Here's that 109, right? Just keep making them think. I think typically, even though there's only 9 people to trade with, somebody's going to get an offer and be like, man, that's just, how do I say no to this, right? Yeah.
Another thing, too, just me being an asshole, Adam, but think about it, too. You know me, I like to send out deals, and I just send them, and either we get a counter and we work something out that way or not. I don't do a lot of typing or chatting. Right. But because there's a little bit of mind games here with where those picks are, right? You look at them and you see 201, 202, right? You see that kind of thing and you go, second rounders. Here's what I do, though. Like, I may or may not send the offer right away, but the first thing I may do, especially if it's going to involve these picks, I'll be like, this is what I want to send you, right? I want to send you pick 11, pick 12, pick 8 and pick 9. Like, I put it as pick 11 and pick 12 purposely, right? So they look at it, so it doesn't say 201, it doesn't say 202. They're like, oh, all of a sudden their brain goes,
12th pick in the draft.
Yeah, I want to send you the 8th pick, the 9th pick, the
you know what I hit them with? I want to send you 4 of the top 11 picks.
There you go. 4 of the top 11. I love that, all right?
Here's 106, 108, 109, and 201, buddy. Your team's rebuilt right here.
Right. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But that's specifically for this, like in these 10-team leagues. And this is a shout out to anyone who watches this plays in a 10-team league. Just think about that for a little bit. How much better does it sound, like Adam said, if I told you I was sending you 4 of the top 11 picks versus I'm sending you 8, 9, and 201, 202.
I tell you what, too, man. I tell you what, too. If I'm able to get something like that done, seeing what he has already, Mike, I'd be willing to dive into this 25 first.
Break into it a little bit.
Dude, if you're walking away with Malik and Marv, like you're as liquid as it gets already. Right? You add that to frickin' DJ Moore, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins. Mike, I mean, the 25 class, like, it doesn't – your team's not going to be in the top 3. You know what I mean? Like, even if something horrible happened, you're not going to be one that bad. You still got Fields. You still got Bijan, Rashad White. CeeDee Lamb is your wide receiver 1, and then you got, 2 of the top 15 receivers, top 10 probably, and young guys with DJ Moore, with Nico. It's something to think about if that actually is of interest to the person that's sitting there with that 101.
And there's not like far and away like super teams in here either. I mean, the guys.
No, I mean, look at the guy who won, M. Cusbit, right? Like Mike, I don't know what happened if there was a bunch of trades, but my man, like,
his top receiver was JSN.
Oh, huh?
You know,
am I looking at this right?
Yeah, I guess.
Trey McBride, Dallas Goedert.
No, he got that pick from Biscuit. Biscuit's the one.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say that makes a lot more sense. There's no way
that makes a lot.
This team looks a lot different. You got Jonathan Taylor, Brees, Amon-Ra, Olave, Kelsey.
Yes, that one seems more like a winner.
He's got three solid quarterbacks. Okay, Nixon. Yeah. All right.
But
even still, this team is not like by no means a world beater. I can't beat.
And it's not adding shit in this draft class.
And you look at the teams too, right? This team has foregone all of its future draft capital. It's not like you can go buy something crazy with DC. Yeah, I think you're in a position, just realistically. I mean, like before you make any of these draft picks, we're talking about in this scenario, you get 3 of the top 4. Your players are already in the mix right here, right? Yeah. Before those guys, I'm sending my 25 if that's what it takes to. So another thing to keep in the back pocket if you're talking to the guy with the 101 especially who's knowing he needs to get more assets and rebuild. Here, you want this 25? Sure. I'll give you another top 10 pick next year. How's that?
Man, love it.
I think that's realistically like all you can do. I mean, just look at it from the player's perspective. You could even show him this. You could even tell him to go to the lab. Say it's non-biased information. Players wise, your team is literally half of any of the relevant teams. You're miles away from being relevant.
Yeah, depending on like the ranking site you look at for dynasty value too, whether it's Fantasy Calc or Keep Trade Cut, right? He's already a top 4 in value for wide receiver, and a lot of that's going to be because of CeeDee Lamb. But that's a good spot. You already have an absolute hammer. Right? It's not like you're coming at it from, oh my god, how do I get? Yeah,
and if you get Mike, if you have a chance, I think you're still fine even if you couldn't. But I think at this point right now, if you don't get another hammer, like if it's CeeDee Lamb and then it's Malik Neighbors, DJ Moore, Nico, I think realistically your team is in the mix to win, right?
Yes.
But I think if you do that, from just a value standpoint, I think, again, now you're going to move the picks into like liquid, desirable assets to really push around your weight however you want to, whether it's just hold these guys, let these young guys feast, or if you want to actually trade into some serious difference makers when, some of these teams eventually are not going to make it.
Right. And I like it too because just the way it's constructed, like his 2 weakest spots right now, running back and tight end. His strongest spot, draft capital, value. Next one's wide receiver. Then after that's quarterback. Like that's a good way to build a 10-team Superflex league right there.
100%.
Forget the IDP part because you can find those guys. You can just.
Yeah. I wouldn't even really. I'm not just saying this because I don't know shit about the defense, although that is true. I'm not worrying about that at all with this thing. I think you're on the right track. I think this is the makings and base of what could be really legit. And I know it's hard in 10-team. It's all about trading up, right? People don't want to let you tier up. But I think I'm literally going to, Mike, I think until the draft happens, be kind of a pain in the ass, like constantly just seeing what I need to do, seeing what kind of different combinations I can send to people to try to trade into some of the more elite range of receiver for the back end first you have.
He's doing all right, too, at the IDP spot, right? Fred Warner, just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Confirmed good at football. Josh Allen, the defensive end, confirmed good at football. Rashawn Gary, he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Doing okay. But even then, the top IDP player was 32nd in WARP, so.
As long as you don't actually start Stafford and Lance at D lineman, I think you're fine.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to get a lot of points out of them there. No, I like it. I think this is a shit-approved roster. Go make some of those deals.
Approved, man. Go get yourself into the 101. into the, Amon-Ra tier, Puka, see what you can do. That's, I mean, I'm not telling you something that's rocket science, but I think that whatever it would take outside of giving up, 102, like for me, 102 to 101, Mike, I'm not even toying with it. I don't even care what it costs unless it's straight up just even, which it won't be. There's no reason. I'm good.
Right. I'm with you though. This class, this league, these formats, I think picks 1 and 2, if I got to make them both, it's going to be Malik and Marv.
Yep. And it's not like, it's not like you don't, like with Fields, right? I'm sure you don't feel secure, but Mike, a guy like him still with his rushing upside, I think he's going to land somewhere. Like, I'm okay if he's still my top option. I'm not saying I would like to have that. Of course, you'd prefer someone better, but if you're telling me that I have, Justin Fields and then I get Caleb or, Jaden Daniels as my quarterback too, like I'm not really panicked at the quarterback spot. Sure, I would love to be better than that, but I'm not in a bad situation here. You're not bleeding value, really.
Right. The graph's pretty flat, too. Like, there's not a big drop-off from the elite guys down. So just kind of think about that and how you rank it. It's probably going to be one of the only ones where we see Dak as the number 1 quarterback, too. So just think about that from a scoring perspective for these guys. And, if you can just get some guys that are solid, QB1s, top 10-ish, like you get around that range and you can just hold serve on a weekly basis with guys who aren't hurt and have reasonable jobs, you'll kill them with wide receivers. You could kill them with running backs too, but that's Adam and I will tell you that's a dangerous proposition to be built on running backs.
And let me just give you some context to this, Mike, from last year, okay? The difference in, first of all, Baker Mayfield's quarterback 11 in the scoring. So, like, it's kind of signaling to me the scoring of Warp that we got some passing juice, realistically. Because, dude, Justin Fields is quarterback 17 in this league, Mike.
Yeah,
last year.
He missed a lot of time.
I know, but, like, it just seems to me like, just look at these names real quick with me. Josh Allen's 1, obviously Dak, right? You got Jalen Hurts, so the obvious candidates. But then it's Lamar, Brock Purdy's 5, Love 6, Mahomes 7. But then it's Tua 8, Jared Goff 9. You got, what is that, Baker 10? Baker's 11. You got 12 is Russell Wilson. I mean, so, like, realistically, if you can't get into the safer range, there's really not that much difference in quarterback 10 and what you have at Matt Stafford realistically last year anyway. So I would like to tier up if I could, but I'm not going to, like, hemorrhage a bunch of value trying to go solidify somebody when I can go get receivers in this range.
See, Justin Herbert didn't have a great year, right? At all.
No.
Josh
How about your
Allen,
boy
Dak
Sammy
Prescott.
Howell at 16? Right.
Well, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, top leading AWAR per game guys, right? At .091. 091. QB10, Justin Herbert in points in WAR per game, .071. 200s per game.
Yep.
Going to take a long time to get to a full decimal.
Yeah.
5 games to get to a full decimal just to make that up. So all the more point, like if you can just find somebody around that 10, 11, whatever, it's a pretty flat tier too. Like it doesn't have to specifically be, it could be a 115 and a one guy that's a 12 right now, just in the ballpark. And I think you do just fine. I'd like to upgrade it, right? I'd like to get into the Josh Allen, the Jalen Hurts, but it might not be attainable.
I'm with you. I think too, at this point, like we kind of have given you a ton of different things to go explore. Feel free to hit us back with feedback, honestly, on these. Like, if you get a deal done, something we recommended, or something close to that, and it ends up coming to fruition, let us know. If you have questions, feel free to hit us up with some follow-ups on this.
And for everybody who's watching this, if you want your own team review, boom, down.
DynastyTeamReview.com.
There we go. I touch it. It's like the Koopa turtle. Dynasty Team Reviews. I know. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Don't let Majerused be the only one that used us. Come on. You can come use us. DynastyTeamReview.com.
It's our second one together, though. Blizzy.
Yeah, it was fun, man. Blizzy here. And don't be afraid if we don't bite. I can't speak for Mike. I don't bite. So, come join us, right? We had Blizzy on here. It was a blast.
Yeah, it's a good time. But there it is. Majerused, shit approved team review. And definitely let us know if you get any of those deals done. Want to know how it turns out.
Yeah.
And if you want your own team review, dynastyteamreviews.com. Go get you one today. That's all I got, man.
That's all we got. We'll see you back here for the next team review on dynastyteamreview.com. South Harmon, YouTube. We're out of this thing. Peace.
See ya.